cop in Texas was fired after he was found brushing off cases of rape involving minors. Now, Arlington Heights High School filed a report with police, and the case involving a 15-year-old student who claimed she was raped was assigned to an officer by the name of Dennis Hutchins. But according to a local news station, KDFW, Hutchins never followed up, and he was eventually fired for mishandling a number of other child abuse cases. Now, we have the local story for you guys from KDFW. Take a look at how this all unfolded.
The school filed its report with police, but we've learned the detective did nothing with it from there. Police say Dennis Hutchins was fired last summer for mishandling multiple child abuse cases.
Did the police department drop the ball with this girl's case?
We have discovered that there were several cases where the detective that it was assigned to had dropped the ball. We've done our due diligence to go back through all of the cases that we believe were not handled or mishandled, and we're reinvestigating them. And so this was one of those cases.
But even after a new detective was assigned the case, police never called the girl's mother to tell her that they failed to investigate her daughter's case.
I have a minor child that was assaulted and that I was not told.
Not by police or the school.
She made a report of an assault, and as a parent, I could have provided her some emotional support, some therapy, some guidance to get through it, rather than watch her kind of decline academically and not understand what in the world was going on.
The mother only learned that her daughter's case had fallen through the cracks after we called the police department.
It's heartbreaking to me that my daughter went through this alone.
When the new detective took over, he called the girl 4 months after her initial report. It was summertime. With no parental guidance, she decided not to pursue the case.
I was trying to forget about it.
After the new detective took over this case, why wasn't the mother called then?
Well, we didn't have contact information for the mother. Now, that's not to say we couldn't find it, but we did at that time had a victim that was not necessarily cooperating with the investigation.
Look, I get it. The girl wasn't cooperating anymore, but so I think the department is clearly at fault, and I think a lot of people are rightfully outraged by it. But the guy I'm most outraged by is the guy that they fired, this Dennis Hutchins guy. How do you not investigate a rape of a minor? Sometimes I don't get to something on my to-do list where I didn't get to email someone back for a week, and I feel terribly guilty about it. Like, you've got a super important job, and apparently you mishandled all those other sexual assault cases. This is monumentally important if a 15-year-old got raped. Yeah, I don't feel like doing that job. Jesus, man, sometimes I can't understand people. Like, how do you sleep at night if you ignore those kind of cases?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious about who he is as a person, you know, aside from the story. And what I mean by that is, what are his beliefs? Like, what are his values? Is he someone who values human life to the point where he feels like he needs to regulate women's lives and women's bodies so they don't have abortions or use birth control? You know, because human lives are important, unless it's a 15-year-old girl who has just been raped, or other minors who have just been raped. In that case, their lives aren't that important. I don't know. I don't know what his political beliefs are. But nonetheless, regardless of your political ideology, you have to be a human, right? Who cares and has empathy for other humans if you choose to take a job that has a description of protecting and serving. And in this case, he had no interest in protecting and serving.
Now, I know we're really into speculation here, but I read the story and I thought, maybe he's an alcoholic or something, like, because who can ignore a case like that unless your life's an absolute mess? But if it is, you're not an accountant. Even that would be a problem for people's taxes. Every job would be a problem if you didn't do it. But this one is really, really important. So you can't just be a mess and go, I don't care. I got my own problems. So if your 15-year-old daughter got raped, that's her problem and not mine.
I feel like as a country, we don't really care about this issue. Right? I think that this is just a symptom of a larger problem that we have. And by the way, it's not to say, oh, this is like a war on women type of thing. This is just our indifference to rape, because men are victims of rape, right? We don't care. We don't deal with it, right? Men get raped in our military. They get raped in our prisons. The issue of rape in prisons has come up countless times in Congress, and they just don't want to address it because we don't care about rape. As a country, it is not a priority, and we do not care, right? We just elected a man who believes that it's okay to grab women by the pussy without any consent. We don't care about rape. So that's the reality of what we're dealing with right now.
It is amazing that I'm always blown away by it, that when you talk about prison rape and nobody wants to do anything about it. Like, they're like, oh yeah, well that happens. What do you mean that happens?
Think about it. We don't want to do anything about rape when it involves innocent children in our country. Why would anyone care about dealing with prison rape when we treat our prisoners as if they're just throwaways of society that should be tortured throughout their entire sentence? I mean, really think about it.
And these are the guys who will then say, we're for law and order. But if you go into prison where you should have the maximum law and order, there'll be lawlessness and you'll be raped at will. And then we yell at other countries because they've got a rape problem. Okay, apparently we do too, we just don't want to acknowledge it. Together we can change the media, make it more representative of you and not the powerful. Come join us, make a difference. tytnetwork.com/join.